All right, good morning. It is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. I'm Anthony. This is Drive Dive. So thinking about today and what I'd like to say, I came across the idea of just sharing, right, how to be more productive by being honest with yourself, discovering yourself and your identity. What do you want? I guess where this came from, as I was thinking quickly these past 5 minutes, is I'm in therapy. I've been going to see a therapist for a couple of months now, and one of the things we spoke about was this notion that myself as an adult, as I was maturing, as I've continued to mature, I've never really stopped to think about what it is that I want for myself. Growing up, you don't get to pick your parents. You don't pick where you live. You don't pick where you go to school. A lot of things happen to you by default. They happen to you based on the decisions that other people make. And if you don't stop to then think about whether these decisions made by others for you, are right, are wrong, if they are supporting the vision of yourself that you have for yourself, I don't know, maybe you get into some trouble, or what you then end up doing and what your real identity is, I don't know, they just don't mesh, right? They're in constant conflict. And so that's kind of been my journey a little bit. You know, I think that growing up, some hardship, I'd always just kind of had to make things work. I mean, even talking about my PhD program, I haven't yet shared, but that came about as a result of me being unemployed. I had left a teaching position, took on an admin role in a district where after 1 year they cut the position, and I was out of a job. And, I think that hit me pretty hard, where I was getting interviews and things after the fact. I think I had my boss was pretty well connected. I think helped me get a number of interviews, but my head just wasn't right. It was just spinning. I was angry. I was upset. I always worked, right, since I was old enough to. McDonald's, Outback Steakhouse, teaching, and then to be unemployed and not able to have my desired job, in education. I botched so many interviews, and I don't think I had ever really thought about the interview process and how to answer specific questions and things of that nature. But anyhow, that was a very tough time for me. But getting involved in a PhD role, or in a PhD program, was, again, one of those things sort of by default, that it was an available option. Okay, all else fails, nothing else going on, like, yeah, sure, let's get involved in this program. Let's get sort of, paid to go to school, work for the doctoral program, and volunteer for the professors and whatnot, and get paid a few thousand dollars, very few, maybe I think it was like 10 grand or something, and okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And then I did land a teaching role the very following fall, only unemployed basically for the summer. But then I kept the PhD program. Again, I feel like I got a lot out of it. I think that it did ultimately support a lot of what I wanted to do in education. But again, my identity, I think, is being an educator, not necessarily a research professor, which is what a PhD would help me become, help me be. And so, while I still go back and forth on whether or not I should allocate the time, make the additional sacrifices to pursue that PhD or finish the literature review and such, I'm still wrestling with that. Is that part of my identity? Is that part of who I am, who I want to be? And those are the decisions that I have to make. And so talking with my students, reflecting on some of their behaviors, I think when I see students struggle, and I suspect that maybe it's because they are not supported at home, to put it mildly or lightly, or maybe they're involved with some not so great friends. I often find myself telling those students that, well, when you're older, you will get to pick your family. You'll get to pick who's around you, who's in your inner circle, and this idea that, well, you can't change the people who are around you, but you can change the people you're around, sort of thing. Some of your different hobbies, habits, routines. Even talk with my honors level kids who presumably are have more of those resources, more of that support in their lives and their homes, which is a shame, right? That stereotypical whatever that exists, right? The system is such that by and large, the majority of students in your lower level courses are the ones who don't have the support at home, and then the kids who are in your upper level courses are the ones that do have the support. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But reflecting on some of their behavior, to see them walking in as we're about to take a test, and they're on their phones. Literally just the other day, kids are talking about yesterday's parlays, right? These are high school freshmen, and they're talking about sports betting, which is, right, one thing, but it's also, right, that's not supporting you in doing well on this test. And so how do you identify, right? Do you identify as a professional sports gambler? Do you identify as a earning honors level, right, high school geometry student? How do you identify? And so trying to impress upon them, those sorts of things. It's interesting, but I don't know that, at the age of 15 that they're stopping to think about their identity and such. Should they? I do think that all of that has a place. Talking about some of the school initiatives, I will just say SEL is what we, the bucket that all of those things sort of fit into, the social emotional learning, that is, or character development things. But those are also practices I think that adults need to engage in as well. What is it that we want for ourselves? What do we want? How do we want to treat ourselves? How do we want other people to treat us? What are we looking for in specific relationships? And so I do find myself having those conversations with my family members. That I am able to talk to my son about the things I see him doing, notice him doing. Right? Are they good? Are they bad? Could they be improved? Do I appreciate them? Hey, what do you need from me? Right? Trying to encourage him even to think about the relationship that he has with me, what he might need more of, or perhaps less of at times. And I'll say now that with therapy and things, really having those conversations with myself and sharing a little bit about that journey with all of you in these videos, how to be more productive. What are some of the things that right? Am I trying to do too much? And of the things that I'm trying to do, which ones really aren't supporting my identity, desired identity, and therefore should just get cut out anyway? Lighten my load a little bit and then allow me to focus on some of the other things that are a bit more important, right? Starting to have those conversations with my wife now, right? As our relationship evolves and the demands on our time with family, right? With young kids, with job responsibilities, for us to stop and have those conversations and say, hey, what's our identity? What do we want in our relationship? What's maybe missing, or what could we use more of? Types of conversations. So I think that communication, right? Internal communication is understanding who you are, your identity, your desired identity, those of the people around you as well, how they can help and how you can help them and support one another, right? I think all of these are important conversations to have with ourselves, with our loved ones, and ultimately it can lead to being more productive, which honestly, I keep saying it, be more productive. I think it's just being, I don't know, feeling healthier, feeling happier, about ourselves and what we're accomplishing, right? What we're doing with our lives, how we're spending our time, and ultimately, I think, right, supporting that identity. When the things that we're doing don't support that identity, I think that's what leaves us feeling empty, feeling unproductive. So that's really what it's about, I think, is shoring up who am I, who do I want to be, and what is it that I can do to get closer to that desired identity, that desired self. So I don't know, have those conversations, have those reflections, and ultimately, that's it. Have those conversations, communicate with yourself, establish your identity, figure out who it is you want to be, what you want in life, get after it. So that's it for me. Happy Thursday. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you tomorrow.